So let's just talk a little bit about personal communication, because it does play a big part in personal branding. So can you give us just a really simple example of good communicating? I know we talked maybe about leaving a phone message.
Oh, that's a big one.
Is it too big?
No, that's a big area.
Oh, it is, because your phone is, they don't even get to see you or know you yet.
Yes, so I would suggest, I get a lot of calls, and the first thing, I'm not interested in hearing, this is Susie, and I can hardly hear you and what you're saying. So first of all, I have to listen to that message 5, 10 times to even get a name.
Yes.
And always give your full name very clearly.
Always give your full
name.
name.
And slowly,
okay.
And articulate perfectly.
Okay.
And no hey man or hi on the email. I get so many weird.
No hi?
Hi.
Okay.
No. Hello, my name is Shannon Smith, and I'm interested in chatting with you about this topic. Okay. Would you be so kind as to call me at 416-324-8955? Thank you so much. And then you hang up. Leave a really great message, like a professional, and practice in front of the mirror if you need to.
I've done that before when I've had to do some things, because it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
And you get to laugh at yourself.
Yes, yes, that's true. You know, I'll give you another tip. When I'm on call at my desk, I have a favorite photograph of a very favorite person of mine. That's my nieces and nephews.
Okay.
And I can see them in my eye. Plus a mirror. I have a little mirror.
Yeah.
And I can, a person can hear your smile.
Your smile, absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
100%.
So if you're looking at this wonderful little chubby face hanging out there in your photograph, and then you see your face, and you can just light up.
Yeah, and they know, and they want to deal with happy people.
They do.
So the other part of it is, there's also a whole other side of personal communication that's nonverbal. Which is huge as well. So can we just speak a little bit about that?
Yes.
Maybe share some humor?
Well, I find that when I put a client on camera for the first time, their movements are very stilted. They're very, very stiff.
Yeah.
So I get my client to do a lot of yoga exercises.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay.
And breathing exercises. So breathing from your diaphragm. My voice just went down big time. However, my natural speaking voice is a little bit higher, but we can speak the way we like. However, that loosening up of the body and getting into yourself is very, very important. Neck rolls, head rolls.
To make my microphone.
And bending over and doing that great big breathing from, there you go.
And get the oxygen in there.
Yes, get the oxygen. And so we start with those kind of things.
Okay.
And those techniques, I teach people how to breathe. So it's very far removed from just putting a dress or a suit on someone.
Oh, yeah. It's like a bigger picture.
Yes. And I talk about their diction, how they're pronouncing their words, how they're standing up. And of course, here they are, they're loosened up.
Yeah.
And once you loosen up,
much better.
You start to expand.
Yeah, expand.
So
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So you have arrived. You want to arrive.
You're not stiff.
Not stiff. So it's not like this in your body. And how many women do this?
Yeah, they do.
You watch men. Don't they just take their space?
They do.
Sit down and they do all
Women
of these
were allowed
things.
to take our space.
Now we are. We have the permission.
We weren't before. That's probably what happened. So with all of that sounds really fun. And they can do that obviously with you one-on-one or in a group.
Both.
Okay, so that's great. And we're going to talk about all the things they can do. But another thing that we hear a lot about is a handshake. People say, you've shook somebody's hand and you've walked away and you're like, oh my gosh, what a slippery wet noodle that was. Or that was nothing. Or somebody has shaken your hand and you've walked away and you're like, wow, that person has a lot of power. So maybe just touch base on that, because is it different for a woman as opposed to a man?
In North America, of course, there's a difference in the strength of our handshake. Sure. However, whoever puts their hand out first is correct, male or female, in the business arena today.
Okay.
And I talk about the handshake in my book.
Yes, you do.
Power Manners. And we have a lot of different handshakes. We have the fish, we have the limp wrist, we have the power, this and that. all these different handshakes. It's not appropriate in business. And I had a client one time that, he was showing me how he shook hands, and he shook hands like this. Came over to me like this.
Wow.
And I said, like,
what are you doing?
Like, what's
what do you call that one?
About?
Is that in your book?
Well, lots of stories in my book. But the power of the handshake, and a lot of people coming from other countries don't understand our way.
Yes.
And, you know, to get a proper handshake, if you would put your hand out, I'll show you a couple of little things. So for women, so that they don't get
sweaty.
their...
You want to wipe your hand off if it's sweaty first. Okay, ready.
So just hold your hand out. I'm going to pretend that I'm a man.
Okay.
And I might get your fingers here, and look at what I'm doing. I'm crushing your ring.
Oh, yeah.
So
and if I have jewelry on, it's going right. I've had that before, where I'm like, oh my gosh, my fingers.
All right.
Absolutely.
So let me show you how to make sure that you will not happen again.
Okay,
that will not happen
ready.
again. So we want to get the web to the web.
Oh,
So you see, I'm getting you at the biggest
I
part
feel
of
very
your
close
palm.
to you doing that.
Oh, do
I feel
you?
very personable. No, I do actually. I feel like I've made a connection with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you see how your wrist is there?
Yes.
Up, just like this.
Very nice.
See, it's
And do you
not-
actually and then you shake? Does it matter how many times you actually shake?
1, 2, 3, drop.
And what happens if they don't want to let go?
Oh, baby.
That's a different book. So I think that's really important, because
Now-
what you just did for me, that actually was a huge lesson.
Yes.
Because when I shake hands, I usually go like this, and I don't go actually for the full.
Yes.
For the full.
Yes. Now, make sure
Connection.
that your arm is straight.
Okay, cool.
So you're not,
Very good.
you know, it's not like this.
Yeah.
It's straight on. Now, let me just show you
Awesome.
something
That was really good. I like that. Very good.
Let me show you something that happened to me with a gentleman. I was doing a dinner speech to a sales association. And after dinner, people were coming up to meet me. And this gentleman came up to me, and this is what he did. I'm the man, and you are me.
Yes. Oh, it kind of hurts.
Doesn't that hurt?
Yeah,
and
like
he
twisting my elbow.
Squeezed so hard. And I
Did you get his name and number?
I'm going to tell you. I thought to myself, what would you do in this instance?
Yes.
I thought, I'm going to be totally ladylike. And I just smiled at him, gave him as much eye contact to say, you ain't going to break me, honey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then
Do you think he did it intentionally?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, he did.
It was
okay.
totally intentionally.
Okay.
You know what
That's not
this? You know
good.
what this means?
What?
You're under me.
Oh, we don't want that.
So no power. You have no power.
Really?
You're under
I didn't
me.
know that.
Yes.
It does actually do that again. It does actually make me feel like
Aren't you powerless?
I don't feel as good as
No, he's not gonna let you go.
Yeah, no.
I was trying that, and no, he was not
Yeah.
letting me go.
That's not good.
What he was saying to me, you belong in
Yeah.
the kitchen with babies.
Did you give him a copy of your book?
I should have.
Do you have his card?
But he would have
You
been
need to-
buying it. I wouldn't have given it
No,
to him.
but did you keep his card? You should send him one.
No, I won't send him one.
But he might
can
be
go to the
watching,
store and buy
so
one.
you can go buy one. So I want to talk about your book, because it's really, really
Yes.
great. And your book is called Power Manners, and I know that
yes.
I have it on the screen that's going to be
Yes.
coming up. But how to use your personal skills for business and social success, and it covers a lot of areas. So just touch base with me, because I can only begin to imagine what kind of a journey this was, and how long did it take you to write it, and like how did it all come to be, because it's fabulous.
Well, I was being asked
Yeah.
by my clients
Yeah.
to write a book. Why don't you write a book? Write a book.
Yeah.
And I wrote the book because everything in the book I've learned from myself.
Yeah, and that's the best part about it.
And
yeah.
I've literally, whatever I've done that's written in the book, I've made the mistake.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's
you
awesome.
know, writing from experience.
Yeah. I think this is what makes this book so great. It makes it powerful. Even though it says power, manners, I think this is a very powerful book. Because a lot of people will write a book after they've researched a lot. But I think there's no better way, like I said at the beginning, than to learn from somebody that's actually walked the walk and talked the talk and gone through it.
Yes.
Because
Now, one of the things
powerful.
in the book that's so fun
Yeah.
are the little quizzes.
quizzes, I
And
heard.
you know, I shouldn't say that word little, because there's nothing
They're
little
big.
about anything ever. We should be writing that out of our
Life-changing,
vocabulary.
revolving quizzes.
So you want to find out how well mannered you are, take the quizzes, and find out if you're going to go on the bus to nowhere, or go on a trip in a limo. or if I'm going to hire you.
That's great.
Because you're such an expert.
So at the beginning of every chapter, there's a quiz.
There's a quiz.
You get to take the quiz, and then you actually read it, and you get to see.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have a lot of famous quotes in here around manners and etiquette, as well as a lot of
yeah, what are the topics covered?
Oh my golly, how to manage the zoo, the meeting zoo, how to
the what zoo?
The meeting zoo.
The meeting zoo, okay.
How to, it's not a magic carpet ride about travel, international protocol, sealing the lunchtime deal. Communication
big deals
skills.
happen at lunchtime. Huge deals happen at lunchtime. Awesome.
And working the grapevine.
Oh, I like to read that one.
Mm-hmm. That's a fun one.
Awesome. There's a
all
song.
About gossip.
All about gossip.
Also, yes.
So how did you think of these names of the chapters? Was it something that you actually personally experienced and you reflected and thought, wow, that was something that really made a huge difference for me?
I wrote the book. I wrote each chapter first, and then I came up with the titles after the chapters.
Okay.
And cool. I had some help with the editing.
Awesome.
And the I had a publisher. Well, he's a writer.
Okay.
That does this actually, but I published my own book.
Oh, good for you.
So not only did I write it.
Good for you.
And when it came to the inside editing, I had to cut 100 pages out of the book.
Oh, you did?
Because it wouldn't have sold at the rate, the pricing point that would have been a popular price point to sell it.
So there's a lot of strategy in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Huge strategy in this book.
5 years of hard work.
So I'm feeling big time that this book is going to help us build our personal brand. So maybe comment on that. How do manners help build a personal brand?
Well, I could have a very nice suit on, and I might go out to dine with you or have a cup of tea, and if I don't know how to use that little sieve that we have for our tea. I've had that happen, where the teapot has real tea leaves in it.
Yes.
People don't know how to use that little tool.
Yep, the sifter.
So they pour and they get their tea leaves. Now, if you were my grandmother, she'd be happy about that because she'd be able to read your tea leaves.
She would read your tea leaves. I know a couple people that do that. It's kind of interesting.
But you don't want to get that in your mouth while you're at any
while you're out,
functions.
etiquette for tea.
Yes, and why is that important? Because it's the finishing touch.
Yeah.
So, companies are looking for individuals that have the entire package. They're not. They look the part, they act the part, and they are the part. So we are representing that company to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And they are taking people out to dine now to make sure that
they
know
embarrassed.
how. So you're not embarrassed, but if you're spending their money,
so
they want you to be the best.
How many times have people gone out? I know that I have. I've gone to a very, very, very elegant restaurant in California, and I sat there and I had 4 plates. Like I had 3 big plates. I had my bowl. I had 3 knives and forks. I had 2 or 3 knives, and I sat there and I was just like, where do I start?
All right. Well, you start from the outside in.
Outside in.
Yeah.
And we just talked about this a couple weekends ago. We were all at someplace and we're looking and we're like, inside out? And I'm like, no, I think outside in. And I just thought, well, we can just wait until somebody starts.
Well, when I'm working with my tutorial dining programs, whether it's one client or a group, depending on what they want, but that's called a full service.
It was totally.
So you see everything. Now, if you go to a restaurant, they don't even give you a fish fork. You have the server, and then you have a plate, and then you have a knife and a fork, and they will take that away according to what you're ordering.
Correct, and I know
I don't want that. We set up the entire service so that I want you to be overwhelmed. I want you to know all of these things.
It's like, what's it for? So what is it, from the inside out or the outside in?
The outside in.
From the outside in. So for everybody that's been to a restaurant, from the outside in.
So
I'll remember that.
Yes, one of the things that we work on and we discuss is how to read the table.
Yeah.
So before we even sit down, we are checking out the table, what's on the table, what fork to use. You can tell by the way the forks and the knives and spoons are placed what you're going to be having.
What you're going to be having. I know that, actually,
So there you go.
So you have to learn your forks and your knives, and you can sit down and say, oh, the first meal is this, the second meal is this. This is going to be a great dinner.
I always choose a dinner. Believe me, it's always fabulous.
That's awesome. So in your book, what are the 3 personal brand actions that you would like to share with our viewers or people that are reading the book? What would they be?
Well, at home, first of all, I would suggest that for their image and their personal branding, have a good look at yourself with a notepad and a glass of wine.
A couple glasses of wine?
and look at yourself naked in the mirror. And
wow.
You know, that
Moment
can be
of
very
truth.
Powerful. And how can you change this? Does this need to be changed? Does this need to be firmed up?
Yeah.
What about my hair? What about my feet? What about, you know, men love pedicures once they get rid of all the calluses on their feet.
Yeah.
But they've never been to they might go to a podiatrist when it's way too late. But if they went to an esthetician and had their feet taken care of,
at least,
no problem. So then your closet is next.
Oh, I do that all the time.
And your colors also.
Yeah.
And also, you know, investigate, what do I really know? Be very alert and watch everything. I was always very alert to what people were doing around me and how they acted. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you can learn a lot from people. You can learn how much they know and how much they don't know.
How much they don't know. I think that closet thing is important because I go through it, and as I share with people, you know, we always keep stuff that we don't need, or we think we look good, or it's comfortable, or it makes us feel good. And I think with you, Shannon, a huge thing that I'm getting with you is you can look great, you can still be comfortable.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that when you're really dressed up and you're totally out there, that it's not comfortable.
No, it's not about not being comfortable.
And it's about being comfortable, looking great, feeling fabulous, and just giving everything your all.
Yes.
So how does that affect differently for women? Would there be a difference in that personal brand action between men and women?
No, those 3 basic things are the same.
Okay.
Color analysis, obviously.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that we need to be reinventing ourselves. Men are particularly bad at this. They think that they can get away with a 10-year-old blue suit. Well, you know, when the knees are shiny and the bottom is shiny, it's time
shiny. And you're like, something's wrong here.
Yes, and also socks.
Yes, whole out garbage you're wearing. Yes, I can't stand it.
I have a little skit that I do with my clients in a corporate class, you know, or training, and I have some gentlemen come up front, so we have them. It's all volunteer.
Take off their shoes.
Well, no, not take off their shoes. Okay. But you know, I talk about the hair, and they turn around and they pull up their pant legs, and there was a hole in one fellow's sock. Now he had a great image, a nice young fellow, well groomed, latest haircut, and when he turned around, and then we turned him around again, well, everybody just broke up. You know, we didn't think that John was going to have this hole in his sock. Yeah. Well, when he turned around, he was laughing too. He said, "I'll never do that again."
Yeah. So it's important to go through your sock drawer. Same as for women with nylons and pantyhose or any kind of hosiery. As soon as you get a run or something, I've known people to fix it. Yes. And I'm like, you just gotta get a new pair.
Yes. So you know, keep those things, those grooming things in a drawer, someplace in a kit, so that you have your toothbrush, your hairbrush, a little bit of perfume, a new hose, fresh shirt behind the door if you're up at that level.
Yes,
and
it's important.
You know, Christmas is very important. And also, one thing that I find that is really troublesome for me is somebody that's hurried and harried, and you don't want to be around somebody like that. You want somebody that's relaxed. So,
good energy.
You know, before you go into a meeting, take your time. Get there early. And do what you need to do. Take off your boots. And I'm with women, they must take off their boots going to an office meeting in the wintertime and have their shoes there.
Shoes, I do that all the time.
Let's forget about the plastic bags and get a nice shoe bag. It makes a whole difference in your whole presentation.
I am laughing because just today actually at work there was 2 people there. And they're like, "Do you have a bag?" And I'm like, "Well, I do have a bag, but I keep it for garbage in my desk. And I always keep an extra pair of shoes in my desk because you just never know." And I actually gave her the plastic bag today for her shoe, which is funny that you say that.
Well, you know, one Christmas a couple of years ago, I was looking at all my friends, my female friends, and saying, what could I give them that's really personal?
Shoe bag.
Well, I got material, and
you made them?
Yes, I made
good
them,
for you.
and I made the color to match
Oh, that's great.
The woman in
sell
what
that.
all of her colors.
Can you buy that from you? That's awesome.
No,
That would be great to make.
well, we'll have to
So
put on your Christmas
put me on
list.
the Christmas list. So what would be your 7 hot tips to creating a powerful personal brand?
Well, first of all, pay attention to your personal image.
Pay attention to your image.
And you don't have to be the walking fashion plate out of Vogue or GQ.
Okay.
Everything has to be clean, well maintained, from your heels, no clicking on your high
Correct,
heels,
yes.
to changing your hair and your makeup constantly. You know, update from here up. You know, you can tell when a person has class. Might not have the most current clothing, but they walk a certain way.
Yeah.
They have an elegance about them. They pay attention to you. They listen to you. There's just something about them that's inviting.
Yeah.
And you can tell
Like
that,
yourself.
Well, thank you.
Very much like yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can tell that a long way away.
Yeah.
So, you know, the package might be great, but what happens when it's like a book? I relate branding to a book.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm a ferocious reader. When I go into a bookstore, I have no idea what I'm going to be
Getting.
But
Surprise!
somewhere I might be going down this aisle and I'm looking at this book, and there's something about the cover, the color, the packaging, the size, the print. I don't know. Maybe the photograph on the top.
Something, right.
Something.
Yeah.
So I make a beeline for that book.
Yeah.
And I pick one up, and I'm looking at the front, I look at the back, oh, I like that. And then I peek inside. I like the back first. I don't
Really?
know about you, yes. I want to know something. And then I look at the table of content, and I always like to read the let me see here, the introduction.
The introduction.
Introduction.
It says a lot about it.
Says a lot about
It really does.
the writer.
Yeah.
And then, if this is not good inside, if this doesn't look good inside,
You don't want it.
It's
I'm
not a
really
buy.
excited because it says Dear Wendy in the front of it.
Yes!
Yeah, I get a book to take home. You have no idea how excited I am to read your book. You have no idea. It's just going to be so great.
Thank
It's going
you.
to be so great. And one question that I just want to ask at the end before we go into some of the stuff that you do. We talked on the phone, and I said to you, how do you handle your family and your friends? I just got to touch base on this because, and also when people met you and they found out what it is that you do, they automatically said, well, how do I look? Give me a quick fix. Like, what do you think? What do you think? How do you handle that? Because you must get so tired of that. And when you're at family, friends, events, and they're like, oh, Shannon's going to be there, I have to dress like this. Or if they just aren't dressed up at all and you come in, you know, how do you turn it off to say, wow?
well, wouldn't it be just the rudest thing for me to be telling anybody about anything?
Yeah.
So I came up with, I get this question all the time.
Yeah.
And I came up with a little saying because I had to make fun of it.
Okay.
And when somebody is around me and they're
Fixing
and pulling their hair and they're tying their tie, and they're saying, well, you know, what can you do with me in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And I said, darn, I never look until I get paid.
Yeah, you never look until you get paid, baby.
No.
It's in the money.
So, you know, you have to make light of it. And that's the way I get around that. But I have 3 great nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And I've been teaching them. They've been my little students since they were babies.
Yeah.
And now they're telling me, I was out for lunch the other day and I saw
so
this and I saw that. And now they're totally appalled. And their friends, they're all university friends, and they're coming to them to say, well,
That's
how do I
awesome.
do this? And
That's
this is
great.
great.
That's really, really good.
So they're passing the word on to their generation.
Yeah, pass it on. So this is a perfect way to end because before we go, just tell us, you know, some of the resources that you have to offer people and how they can get in touch with you. And I did print off, you know, some of the things if you want to talk about. I brought through your company, Premier Image International, I have the executive brand audit.
Yes.
The personal brand audit.
Yes.
Afternoon tea with Shannon, that one just touches me like crazy. And the executive dining and manners. So for me, I was like, I would love to have afternoon tea, and I would love the executive dining and manners program. So where does somebody begin? How can they have them all, and how can they?
I have clients that want only part of what I do, and then there are others that want the entire program. So it depends on what you do. Most of my programs are customized to the client, and we either work in their office or their home in the beginning. And I also have a great number of experts around me, from hair, makeup, clothers, dietitians, psychologists, because sometimes people aren't ready for me.
So many.
They're not ready
people
for the
aren't ready for you. Well, that's the key thing. People aren't ready to change, and when they see you, they have to change.
Yes.
Even if it's just a little bit or a lot. But if you really want to have that success in your branding and in everything that you do, you have to be willing to change.
Well, that's why I created the personal brand audit, so that when people sit down with me, they get a feel for me. And I'm not out there to tear you down and then, that's not my style. Yeah. I'm still the nurturing nurse personality. I'm still nursing. It's just a different way. And so, this is a very private. They let their hair down.
It is very private. I'm seeing people are scared of it sometimes.
I'm sitting on people's beds, clients' beds, and going through their closet, and I've
going through their sock drawer, their underwear drawer, their bra drawer.
I don't go that far. That's up to them.
But you teach them how.
I teach them how. But I do go through the closet. And boy, I'll tell you, I'm vicious.
Lots of stuff. I would love you to do that with me. That'd be great.
And
we'll talk about
put
that again.
A pile here that's going to Amity or Salvation Army. Yeah. Then there's the fix-it pile. Yeah. Then there's what we can use and add to. So the time I'm working with a client in their home, and we have also a fashion show. So I might have a glass of wine in the living room, and we decide to pick out some clothing for you, and you come out, and we're making a critique, number 1, number 2, number 3 in all your different wardrobe. And so then we're saying, let's do this, let's do that, let's put out the hem. People must understand the power of proportion in their clothing.
I've had that in my hems. Yes, big difference.
Very big difference.
So
short-waisted, long-waisted.
And that's everything they need to learn and to deal with.
And then there's the next step, next step. And the final step might be the tutorial dining program. And actually, I have I have lots of programs, but it's all customized to the client. And in the book, you can learn how to use the right fork. I could not let art go out of my book, so there are great illustrations in there too.
So I know that we have a promotion happening on your books. If you want to just let the viewers know through a celebration of women specifically, if you want to just share that.
Yes, when they buy the book, $10 per book goes to the Celebration Foundation.
So how much is the book?
The book is $36.95.
So $36.95 Canadian dollars?
Canadian, yes.
Plus tax?
Well, of course
Canadian. I just had to make sure because we have so many people watching.
Yes, and they can go into my website, and they can go into your website, Catherine's website, and click on it. It's all there. We just did it 2 days ago.
So we want to go to celebrationofwomen.org, and you'll be able to find the book promotion. $10 will be donated to a celebration of women. That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yes, and for contacting me, please call me.
I was going to say, how can people reach you? So email, phone number, what's best for you?
They can go to powermanners.com.
Powermanners.com?
Yes.
Awesome.
Or 416-324-8955.
Okay, so that's powermanners.com, and the phone number is 416-324-8955.
Yes. And that powermanners.com goes right into my regular website.
So we're done for today. We've run out of time, but we've been with Shannon Smith, a powerful woman of action, the owner of Premier Image International. And we're going to close the show today, but we want to say thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
I learned so much talking to you, and even today, especially that handshake. And for me as a woman in business, I'm going to utilize that starting tomorrow.
Good.
So thank you for that free tip. But I want to give a big shout out to all the women of the world in all the 210 countries that are watching us. It doesn't matter what time zone you're at. We are here at a celebration of Women TV live at that channel. Please go to the website, celebrationofwomen.org, and sign up for the email. Please check out Shannon's site. What is your website?
It's Premier Image. So it's an E on the end of Premier.
So P-R-E-M-I-E-R-E. Image, INTL.com, and I think they were showing that anyway.
Yes.
So, or they can also Google you, because I Googled you and I found some stuff about you. So make sure you Google Shannon Smith, our wonderful, wonderful woman of action. And stay tuned for our next celebration of Women TV coming at you soon. Thank you to Catherine Clark. Big shout out to you for being the woman with a dream and making it all happen. Thanks so much. Have a great night.